Should I bring another bigly gun? Maybe. Rapier might not hurt. Something with some stopping power, even if you have to reload it constantly. Have another speed loader, yep. Perforator. Can you get rid of stuff you don't want anymore? I might keep Perforator. Reload speed's a big thing because it only shoots once. Yeah, Lightning Strike and Perforator. I think that'll have to do. Never got a replacement for Aether. That's all I have for that one. We can probably get rid of my 2 stealth abilities. Oops. How did I unequip that one? What was that one? Significantly more total health, so it's probably do faster health regeneration. Maximum health greatly increased. Just a lot of ability to take hits, basically. Do I get double jump again, or just the ability to teleport around more frequently? Might do maximum power up. Not that much though. Is that or double jump? Alright, let's get going. Hopefully this will be my final run, which, unless I get, unless it surprises me with a stealth objective, I think it should be pretty easy. This game's not very hard unless I have a mandatory stealth section, which is only a couple times.
Frank was less of a bastard than most.
Less of a bastard than you.
He was really good, wasn't he?
The best. You know, in the beginning, he wrote a new song almost daily. Hundreds of compositions. You really loved one of them. It's a shame you forgot it.
You're just fucking with me to make me feel bad.
Oh, I wish I was.
It's a bummer that massively increased health is almost like double health, but massively increased energy is 1/3 more. Feels a bit less. So yeah, sabotaging Frank's pretty easy because it's just a password. Help. Uh-oh. Shooting back is a huge mistake, isn't it? Don't know why I did that when I could have just been quiet. Bye-bye, that guy. Alright. Why is this so hard? I swear to God. This game should absolutely assume you want to mantle onto any ledge that you teleport towards. Like, I feel like this is a really basic design element. I just feel like we've hit a point where it's like Blizzard's one character that's kind of a ripoff of Dishonored shouldn't have better teleport controls than the, you know, the developer of Dishonored. Like, I'm pretty sure Reaper has better blink ability than Colt does. I don't mean like powerfulness, I just mean like usability, like it goes where you want it to go. Like you point at a ledge and it's like, oh, I'll lock onto a ledge because I was made to be played by players. You're supposed to be like a flicky, rapid fire, whoa, look at us go with this crazy adventure in this action game character. But also you're supposed to like, what, aim this incredibly finicky and specific ability that like just does not reliably do what you want it to do? It's like, it should be really making this, like, it should absolutely be snapping and helping you out and stuff, because it's a fucking, like, it's supposed to be like a fast-paced, let's go kind of game. At least when the fighting starts.
Just in time for the show.
As far as I can tell, that's the thing. Okay, so... ah, fuck. Alright, well. Thank you. Where's my gun? There you go. There's the delete her gun. Upgrades are nice, but I don't like the fact that getting the upgrade involves replacing one of my abilities with it, so I'm not even going to collect the upgrade. I mean, I could. I mean, I don't use invisibility. Sure. Nexus Slab. What does the Nexus Slab even do? I don't remember her ability. Oh, you recover health when they take damage. Oh, it's the one where you link a bunch of people to each other. That one. It's like how a lot of games have a mark and kill ability. It's like a thing in a bunch of like Ubisoft games or something. There's like a mark a bunch of enemies and then you quickly kill them all set up. Enough toxic bullshit. Alright, first two major objectives down. You killed a visionary and slipped away into the tunnels. So she was never gonna have anything interesting going on. There you go. Let's go ruin his experiment. They had to go all in with the cultist situation there and try to make that interesting, because she was never going to do anything interesting, because there always had to be somebody you killed. Technically not. They technically didn't need anyone that you killed in part 1.
Just let me get this straight. You're gonna unleash these monsters. Alexis, Charlie, Via, Wendy? They're not fucking up the outside world because they're in here. They can't hurt anyone here.
I think the world can handle Charlie fucking my... Who am I kidding? You don't give a shit about what's out there.
But you do. Think for a minute, okay? This is a mistake.
At least I'm consistent.
Oh, because she's a mistake? That wasn't very nice. Anyway, yeah, that person's dead. Y'all, are we okay? Or... that was alarming. Oh, I need one of you. Where are they? Ah, fuck. Right. Ow, by the way? I forgot. I have to get the one from inside of here. Something's yelling at me. There it is. There very well could be a better one somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I'll just go for the one that I know the location of, because that's... Certainty is faster than exploration. Ah? I can't go in here after the morning. Yuck! Alright, well, shit. This just got longer. I don't know where a jammer is. Because the one I know is downstairs. I missed you. I missed you. I missed you.
Hello? Hello? Answer me.
The situation is under control.
Colt? Is that you?
Yes.
No?
Motherfucker.
Another friend of mine.
Yeah, you already know who NG is. Did I just fuck up this entire loop? Because you would think her discovering me would be important. That's never happened before.
Don't need it.
I don't think. Did I just never notice her? Asking what's up? Have I never been in this level at this specific time of day? Oh, out here, right? There's a jammer here. Is that the jammer? No. But I think in this room, not a room, but this area, I think this is where we'll find the first jammer I ever met. Yeah, it was like right here. Is it in here? Because the stupid console's invisible, so I need the ability to make it uninvisible. Another one. I'm just gonna spend half this episode clearing this level, aren't I? Till I can find one again. It's an unreasonably accurate gun for what its purpose seems to be. I'm so confused by this gun's existence. What the fuck? I mean, it's a game where a headshot's a headshot, so you think a gun like this would just not be a super accurate gun at a range that just makes sense, but that's not what they do. That's all locked up. There's multiple parts of this area you can't access. I just need to find a jammer somewhere. Oh, you didn't even summon a turret.
I'm feeling just fine.
Weird. This just goes back in through here. Man, sorry if my memory is just blowing it or something. But I don't know. I remembered 2 turrets and neither of them were there.
Greedy Colt.
Or one of them's not there and the one I can't get to because the door is locked at this time of day. But in like the special kind of locking way that I can't do anything about. I guess I'll just re-explore the areas surrounding the console and just hope that there's one somewhere in here. But this area is also locked up and I can't go inside the main building anywhere. If I take too long, a Juliana's gonna come after me. And then what am I gonna do? Can I just go through this? You could just go through. Yep. Oopsie. I thought I couldn't get in through here this time of day. I thought that was like kind of the point. Huh. I thought the blue lasers meant you just couldn't come in here at all, but I guess I'm just wildly wrong about that. Why can't I just do what I did last time though? Anything new? New messages. Igor Alexis. Archived. Let's start there. Hey, Alexis. What time's the party? Your party, I mean. You'll have extra wolf masks, right? I won't be the only person without a mask. I am invited to the party, aren't I? Call me by my fucking handle, you sad sack of sad shit. Fine. Alpha Wolf 69. So, when's your party? You didn't answer the question. You know we eat the lambs, yeah? You wanna eat, little lamb? Well, maybe I'll be doing the eating. Maybe I've got some surprises in store. So, you gonna let me in or what? I've definitely read that before. But it said it was new. Is this also not new? Yeah, it's also not new. Okay, they said they were new, but they were not. You're mine. And I can warp back out of here? Okay. Wow, it took way too long to think of this. Okay. I just kind of just got used to the idea that that whole area was off limits and not an option. B521. Ta-da! I have some scenes to delete. Well, this entire level is devoid of enemies now. But that happened. Just the whole thing. I searched the whole level for one except there. I didn't have to do that last time. There was I knew multiple places to get one, but they're all locked now. And the one that I originally remember from the backyard was also just not there. Even more residuum. Don't even know what to do with all this residuum. More residuum. I'm gonna have too much residuum at the end of this run. And no use for it if the game is over. I think. Unless they surprise me with another loop. Just killing time. I did something important. Just because I didn't kill a guy doesn't mean I didn't do nothing's important. Make fun of me. Igor's sad science, that's not very nice. What if there was even more residuum? Alright, loadout. Just keep any upgrades I get. Would not like to lose progress on that. It just feels bad. And then I just sell anything that's not purple. Purple is so common that it makes me question the premise of why there's even ranks, but maybe I made progress through the game relatively quickly and it just like skipped past the part where it pretends that the ranks mattered. I don't know. This doesn't quite feel right. But anyway, I am loaded. Alright, don't dwell on our failures. Next part of the plan, let's go kill the lovebirds. Don't remember this part very well. It's been a long time. I go to like a door with a number on it that's on like the edge of the water somewhere around the corner behind a cliff. And there's a flood them button that might be the easy way, or I could just probably shoot them with guns, because you could shoot them with guns. You ever thought about that? Well, I'll try to do this.
One of us, right? A visionary?
Kinda figured as much, and yeah, I know what that means.
What do you think is going to happen when you break the loop?
We're all gonna get off this rock.
I'm sorry, but no. We're all gonna
You don't know that.
Maybe the anomaly collapses and kills us all. Maybe there's nothing left out there but empty space. Maybe the Colt that walks out of the loop is one of those other jackasses you've already run into. Or maybe midnight ticks by and the 9 of us just stay
Life's
dead.
full of maybes, Juliana. That's what makes it life.
The odds are against us.
Always are.
What happened to that claim of certainty, as if we knew it was going to happen? I guess she just plays every game she can at the idea of, like, she's attacking us from every possible angle to try to, like, sow doubt again and again. They're not very close together right now, the lovebirds. But anyway, I figure I'll do the special execute via drowning them, if for no other reason than just because, you know, maybe something cool happens. Maybe it's... Place sucks. Okay. Ah.
Seen Fia? I can't reach her on the radio. Yeah, she doesn't use it.
Thanks for my health back, y'all. Don't fall in the water. Okay. Got nervous for a second there. I need to be kind of quiet. I don't know of this having a fail state I have to worry about, though. A 7. Oh, wait. $41. 24. Because yeah, 2 at 1 could be dangerous, though so far I don't have much reason to think so. None of them really impress me. Their powers don't seem very strong, usually. Even when, what's his name, started hitting me with his, like, his meat power, his play with his meat power, which sounds like, that sounds euphemistic, for several reasons. Like, I was like, oh, he must be, I think he might be one, I think he might be him. I think that might be the wolf guy. She likes us to watch, just another high. I was like, oh, I think this might be Alexis, because he's like, my character's moving a little weird. Like, he didn't, like, kick my ass. I barely noticed he was doing a thing. My controls were just slightly weird, and I was like, oh, something's up. Two-bit. It might be a bad idea to do the drain just because it might be hard to get out. Because the exit's down here, it seems. All the other doors seem locked.
Aw, you used to like my girl.
I liked them when you were around.
Around? Round of what? Round, around, around, round, around. This is fine, don't you think?
Do you actually want me to answer that?
Ever wonder if you expose too much of your
You promised that you wouldn't do that. You promised.
city lights so far, far away? On a trip, on a long holiday, downtown. 'Cause you're high, I want to be there. You had Frank write that song. You knew my deal.
I wrote that song. You just changed chord progression.
Charlie, we're one of many. Two mirrors, opposite reflections.
told me something perfect for you to do, and you said it would be attraction.
And you listened to me.
These two are pretty fucked up, aren't they? Uh-oh.
What was that?
Oh, shit, where's the thing? I think mission failed. Okay, let's just kill them. Okay, got them both. Okay, I can't get that. Did the thing just start? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Why is it going so fast? How do I get out of here? Oh shit, there it is. Am I just gonna die 3 times? I'm out. Okay. I just lost... Did I just lose 3,500? So it started on its own and also went way faster this time. And I think I just lost 35,000 residuum as a result. That was not a lot of time to look around. Alright, that was weird, because it's supposed to happen when somebody pulls the lever and nobody pulled the lever, so... It's kind of a dick move of the game to break its own rules. But whatever, they're both dead. And I don't need to keep any of these upgrades anyway. They're not even for powers I want to use. Mostly. Probably want to keep the upgrade to teleporting, because it might be good, but I can probably afford that by selling off my purples. So we're probably good anyway. Those two had a fucked up dynamic. Interesting how they died like simultaneously with an almost like simultaneous like headshot. I unloaded into her for a while and then not into him, I don't think, and then just fucking he popped the corner and then I killed both of them simultaneously, which was a bit of a surprise. Nope, not this menu. Yeah, I have 0 residuum. I lost all 30,000. Swap position with an enemy. Get creative. That's potentially a fun idea if you have like if you're in a specific dangerous place. I don't know how many places I would do that in. I guess you could jump over a death hole and be floating in the air when you do it. But I'm not super into that. All right, well. I think I'm good. Let's go wrap this up and oopdom. Final stop. 4 targets to go. 50% of the targets are here. 3 of them in one big party, and then Juliana, who I launched to via this location still.
Oh, you want to grow a beard too? Sick of this stuff.
No, seeing you again, talking face to face as equals.
We'll have plenty of time to catch up after I break this loop.
I hope you'll hear me out.
And I hope you'll see that I'm doing this for you too.
Just watch your step at the party, Colt. You're so close.
Be a shame if I died now.
Of my ultra-exclusive Devouring of the Lambs party tonight. Congratulations on getting invited, guys. A reminder, bring the set 3.
It might not hurt to have these, actually. We're going towards a big fight, so I think I'd like to set up a bunch of turrets in the courtyard, like I'd like to do, but this time it'll actually be more long-term helpful. Whoopsie, you're dead. Oh, there goes Frank. There's 5 in this level, huh? These 3 and Frank and Juliana. And Frank's just someone that you set up the death of a while ago. See, I want to set them up relatively rapid fire, because I don't want them to be too quickly overpowered by incoming attacks. There's more I could bring in from earlier in the level, but that's just... This is my list, my limit on patience for that. I don't want to scour the entire level, it's too much of a pain in the ass. I'll grab a few around here. Whoa! A little leapy moment. Alright, and they're all upstairs. No. That's not what I need. Are they all dead? You got all of my turrets that fast, huh? Alright. Alright, that's a lot more of them. Down to our last turret? They didn't last as long as I would have hoped. There's Juliana. Shit, alright. I don't have good long range weapons, actually. Alright, well this is not good. Things got much worse. I'm quickly running out of ammo. Oh boy. Oh boy. There's a few of these though. Oh god. I'm not good on ammo on any gun. I don't even know my way around this part of the map. Better not be Colt. Better not be Colt.
I'm feeling just
Better not
fine.
be Colt. Better not be Colt. I have more ammo for my guns, please. God, this level's big. Where am I?
Don't get greedy, Colt.
Being shot by, oh, it's you. I thought it was, I thought. It's Wenji. Dude, ammo's a problem.
I'm good.
So it is around, you're just not picking it up from the area very well. Is this dual wielding guy the real one? Yeah, he is. I'm like, this guy's dual wielding and hard to kill. It's definitely Alexis. Don't know what that does, but it's off now. Dude, I don't even know where I am. What is this part of the level? And you're dead. And to launch the rocket. Now Juliana's fucked unless she knows exactly where I'm going next. I don't know if she gets updates on my objective, but I'm leaving. Dude, this level's huge. I never even fully understood how huge it was. Don't know if the Juliana's a person or not either. This level, this direction looks undoable. Why does it still hurt you?
Pitchfork.
I have no ammo. Hopefully it doesn't fuck me, but I can get away from this person.
Cardinal. Flamingo. Zenith.
Bye. I hope.
Quieto, man. Okay, all right. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. Here we go. I know I lost this thing. Oh! Oh! Oh, okay.
That really was his whole plan, just crash into it. He's lucky he didn't just die on impact. After all that. I think my unlucky discovery was that that level is mostly stocked with people that use... all my guns are suddenly fully loaded. I think we discovered the hard way, and yeah, I should have brought a shotgun. I think everyone there uses shotguns.
Not quite like this.
But I don't love my bolt action rifle, so it doesn't feel super useful most of the time. So yeah, I should have brought a shotgun, but I don't have. I think that's my blind spot. I think that's the thing I didn't keep a copy of. Maybe, I'm not sure. I would definitely go back and get a shotgun instead of my other stuff, because that would have been more useful in that gauntlet.
First, okay? I'm unarmed, and I have a real treat for you. You'll like it. Or not. I don't know, who can guess with you?
More talking. My favorite.
It's not fun to have to kill your own daughter, although you have killed her like 100 times or something. Probably more, given how long it's been. What is this room?
Don't worry. It's perfectly normal.
Yup. Perfectly normal. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark.
Cool room. And that last place is all like sound foam looking stuff. Kind of sucks to stay here forever though, right?
Welcome back.
This ain't normal.
In that case, are dueling pistols, vintage pieces, original oil cartridges.
What are the numbers?
Kinda dusty.
They're museum pieces. Part of history, worth preserving. Like Blackreef. Please, sit.
I'd rather stand. Thanks.
Did it ever occur to you that I always wake up first? So if we survive the collapse of the loop, you'll wake up with the barrel of my gun in your mouth.
Dying for real beats living like this.
You mean living with me? You hate me.
Living here, stuck in this fulfilling day.
You used to like me. You used to see this place for what it could be. Then you murdered me.
So you could have a real life without do-overs.
And I thought you were ready for answers.
Great, fine.
I get it. You've been through a lot. You finally know how to break this place, but that doesn't mean you know how to use it.
Sure I do. Target practice.
Colt,
What? Want me to write a book, paint a fucking
I
portrait?
want you to ask questions about this place, about me, about the other Colts.
So I can forget the answers like everyone else.
People forget because they're bored. You're not bored, are you?
Not the word I'd use.
So stay. I'll show you incredible things.
Now, how many times have we had this exact conversation? Is there a version of your fun that isn't us killing
Hey,
each
listen.
other?
I came here to be Eon's fucking arcanist. You murdered me over and over. So, yeah, I fought back. And I learned to like it.
Every fight gets old eventually.
But you love the hunt. You started this.
Then it's on me to end it. For everyone.
You know, no one will forgive you. I won't forgive you.
It's happening.
It doesn't have to. Colt, you still have a choice. Take the pistol. Take it.
Are these antiques even gonna fire?
If you pull the trigger.
And if I don't?
Amazing things. Other worlds, other times.
Where we kill each other.
Sounds like fun. On 3. 1,
I've come too far.
Well, that was unpleasant. Ew. What is this place? I'm like, I don't think the place you saw outside was shaped like that.
Juliano. It worked?
Is there no water?
Okay. Here goes.
What does that mean? What is that? What happens? You've unraveled the mystery at the heart of Deathloop. Did I? Is that what the game was supposed to be about? Unraveling a mystery? Oh, look, her hand's moving like a clock hand. I like that detail. That's funny. Yes, yeah, her hand moves like a second hand. That's up and down. I mean, not the up and down part, but, you know. Colt story may be over, but that shouldn't stop you from further exploring Blackreef's mystery and sin secrets, because the game wasn't repetitive enough in the main run. Play it more. Hop back to the action with everything you've collected at your disposal. I was pretty capped out well before the game ended, so the appeal of a new game plus isn't really there. Alternatively, lace up Juliana's sneakers and make a bid to protect the visionaries and the loop from other players. If you wish to experience Colt's story again from the beginning, you may reset your progress to the options menu. Thank you for being a part of this with us. We hope you enjoy everything that Blackreef has to offer. Have a fulfilling day, the Deathloop development team. Oh man, this game... I was really excited about this game. I felt bad it took me a while to get to it, much like Resident Evil 8, where I'm like, oh, I gotta play it. It's gonna be great. I was anticipating it, and man, it leaves a very bad first impression because of the mandatory tutorial linearity of it that goes on for too long. But then it never really, like, makes sense at any point. Like, I never really got what the game was supposed to be, or what was supposed to be fun about it. The roguelike element makes everything feel disposable, which reduces your interest in, like, investing fully in, like, exploring or doing anything of consequence, because you can lose stuff or everything's going to come back anyway, and you're just going to play these levels over and over again, which makes you want to just, like, skim through them real quick. And, like, when you're not in a specific level, then you're just kind of, like... This game weirdly has open world problems, despite not being an open world, just due to the fact that, like, a decent chunk of the map is just an open island, where there isn't just... Whenever you have just a big field, or like there's a few ledges or something, like, in those situations, it just kind of feels like the level design doesn't really matter or exist as much. And so you just kind of, like, have a big open area, and so, like, you can deal with the enemies, but also it's so open you can just run past them or teleport past them, and so those areas all feel like filler that's in the way between you and objectives, in a way that's different than, like, how a game like Prey feels like it's all levels where there's something going on. There's always stuff to find there, and stuff going on, and enemies that could be around, and so on. And, like, yeah, there are enemies, but the same enemies everywhere else, but less restrictive and less attack and less capable of stopping you when you're in the open in this game. But it's also, like, usually a sign that there's no objectives around for the most part, since most of the open areas don't really have much going on. They seem to have, like, put the wacky surprise open these presents game there in order to do more with that space. but otherwise it's just kind of an open area. I guess I'm mainly thinking of the area Wenji's in at the beginning, is like, which I spent a little too long running around because I was trying to find the jammer earlier. That area is just kind of like, the fields just don't add much to it, and there's a few open areas in some of the other levels too that just, you kind of just quickly get through them to get to the facility, and then once you're at the facility and you get to the front gates of that, then it's like, now it's time to pay attention. There's like a series of tiers of things, but like, you quickly get purple of everything. Like, I had purple of most, like, in my first run, I quickly got purples of, like, not like everything across the board. Like, I didn't get, like, an entire purple set of all of my upgrades, for example. But, like, I already had 2 purple weapons, and it picked up some purple things. But I think I didn't get to keep them yet. But, like, purples are just immediately common, so it makes you wonder why there even are 3 tiers. Because it just makes me annoyed at every white or blue thing, which also seemed to get really rare really fast, so it was mostly just purples anyway. So the tiers exist for almost no reason. So the idea that you need to collect stuff, and like, now you can do New Game Plus with all your powerful gear, it's like, I was powerful like immediately. It was easy. It's so strange. But also just like, so much loot. Like, they had the better system before. Like, I always go back to Control, a game that I did not like very much. The cutscenes were neat, the levels looked cool, and like the general tone and setting of Control was neat. But the actual gameplay I found to be really shallow, just shooty, and then you have a couple of powers. But the worst of all was the loot system, where every time you fought basically anything, it would just kind of drop stuff on the ground. And it was like, increases damage by 4%, increases damage by 7%, increases damage by 5%. And like, it wasn't all damage, but like, it was like a list of like 10 stats or something. But like, for every one of those 10 stats, you got like an ungodly amount of upgrade items constantly. And I think you even had like an inventory cap, but also like, you know, there's like a progression system and power creep to deal with. So like, you do need to keep up with those systems. You can't just like ignore them. But the act of keeping up with it is just looking in your inventory, and you've probably decided on like the handful of upgrades that are your favorites. So now you just have to look through this big mess of spam mail, like you're checking your emails, which I'm always bad about doing too. It's keeping up with all the fucking PR email that I have thousands of in my inbox, and being like, all right, where's the ones that are relevant to my interests? Like, I like this stat. Is there anything in this giant list of names? As you're sitting there salvaging dozens and dozens of duplicates, to be clear, just to get to like the one, like, okay, that one's that one, okay, that's the one I want. And like, this game doesn't even sort your inventory. Maybe there was a button somewhere, but it should just sort by default in some kind of reasonable way, or stack things or something, because it just, the same, my inventory would have the same skill 6 times, and maybe at 2 different quality levels, but mostly just repeating. And like, there's at one point where I pointed out, like, where I was like, what is this, a match 2 game? Like, you have to flip over the tiles and match them with each other, and then they stay flipped over? Because, like, I had 6 consecutive items that were 3 upgrades, all repeating twice, and none of them were in any discernible order. So you can't even quickly scan over it and repeat and see the same name repeating and then be like, okay, that's a group of 2 or 3. It's like, no, the top left and the bottom right are the same upgrade as each other. Same quality level, same stat, just the same. But they're not grouped in any way, so you just have this messy-ass inventory of repeating duplicate things. And that stuff just, it gets so old so fast. And what I hinted at a second ago is that they had a better system before. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. This is a better, what I'm about to say is a better system, whether or not it happened before, but I'm pretty sure Dishonored had this. There was like totems throughout the game, right? And there's like these little like things made by like the hag type lady, the unnerving, magical, dangerous lady that was introduced in the first game. There was like these little totem things you could get, these little like bone bundles that hissed at you. If I remember correctly, each level had like 2 or 3, and all of them were unique. And so if you found it, you found it. And if you didn't find it, you didn't find it. And that was your chance at getting a really specific upgrade. So that incentivized exploration, and every time you found one, you're like, oh shit, I found one. And then you would choose which ones you liked and so on. And they all did something unique, so they were worth looking at. But now, in this game, you see everything this game has to offer almost immediately. Like, it's like you've almost immediately you've seen every gun, and you've seen every upgrade, aside from, you know, those obscure side quest guns they wanted me to hunt for, I guess. And so all you're going to see for the rest of the game is those upgrades over and over again with different variations and rarities until you, like, purchase them for good, I guess. And then at that point you just say screw it and stop interacting with the whole system, I guess, eventually. But, like, the loot quickly turns into duplicates forever and nothing new and surprising and interesting, when their game that was less about loot had more interesting loot. And I'm just like, I think that's how Dishonored works. If it wasn't Dishonored, I've played games that do that, and that's definitely a better system because it's more engaging than just spamming Skinner box stuff and making everyone a loot pinata like it's Borderlands. Like, killing a guy just to have them drop like 7 things, it's like, that's just kind of annoying. But it feels like they're trying to make up for the fact that these visionaries are just a dude. This is a game where you just fight dudes, and they have guns, and they have a handful of variety of guns, and the visionaries are just another dude, but they're harder to kill, which is one of the primary reasons they killed me. It was not because they were especially dangerous, but because I would get startled or confused by the fact that when I shot them, they didn't fall over and die, but other people would consistently die. So I'd be like, oh, headshot, I win. And then they wouldn't die, but I would have, like, moved on to my next target, and then they would just shoot the shit out of me because they don't look like important characters, which is on purpose in the course of Alexis, because he made everyone dress like him. But aside from Alexis, the other characters don't look important either. They just look like some guy. Like, they don't... Their designs don't jump out at me. I could not draw any of them right now. Like, if you ask me to draw characters from Deathloop right now, Deathloop, a game that's about 9 named characters fighting it out, these 2 and then 7 other ones, if I tried to draw their designs, I would only be able to draw Colt and Juliana and Alexis with any approximation of anything. I would quickly have to start guessing after that. Like, I think Wenji looked like a nerdy scientist lady in a lab coat, maybe. And after that, it gets real strenuous real fast. Like, the next character I try to draw is probably, like, 2-Bit, who I met, like, twice. And it's like, these are supposed to be the iconic, like, these are all supposed to be the equivalent of, like, the BioShock villains, where, in that game, every single level of BioShock is you being introduced to a new environment, and that environment is memorable and interesting and starkly different from the other environments, and then each environment has its own internal narrative of what's going on in that environment and what they're up to and, like, what went wrong there and the downfall of this society that is itself meant to be a commentary on objectivism and so on. And we could go on about whether or not that was a successful commentary, but, like, my point is that there are layers to what's going on, and there's a narrative, and there's usually a big bad villain which gets set up over the course of that area, not only because you get some kind of brush with them, but also because the audio logs are all about that villain and discussing them over and over again. I would really struggle to explain to you what the 4 levels of this area were about and doing, and what the characters, like, who the characters were, and what their goals were, and what they like to do, beyond, like, one quirk, maybe. And, like, a lot of them don't have, like, super, like, and I can appreciate the fact that I did read a bunch of documents and email interactions and so on. And so, like, there's something there, but what is there is not especially memorable, and I'm not sure if remembering all of it makes you come away with something that's super interesting either. By far, the most seems to be spent with Alexis, and I find that kind of interesting because, like I have the most memorable image of Alexis out of all the characters, which is interesting because of the fact that, like, his facility was so hostile that I probably read the least documents from him. He's just very memorable with how he interacts with other characters and how much they all hate him and so on. Like, the other characters, it's like, there's a guy who likes games. There's a lady that I think might have fried her mind with drugs, maybe, and like, I think that when he says that, like, I liked that when you were here, like, I think that he's referring to the fact that she's not herself anymore, but that's like all I'm really getting out of that. There's the cultist that tortures people for fun, I guess. The scientist that cloned herself and she's researching something about the loop. The exact purpose of the loop is kind of hard to discern. Like, there's an idea that maybe it's rapture, but for sociopaths, which was kind of like what rapture was. But like, it's this idea that like it's just these people that are up to some fucked up shit in this place, via the time loop. Akin to how like rapture is like this place where everyone's supposed to be like, oh, the rules are gone now, we can do whatever we want, go crazy, unleash your genius. This place could have been that, in that it's a time loop with a bunch of goons. But because they're just repeating themselves, and they never interact with you, almost never, like, I don't... I didn't get anything out of most of these characters. It's just disappointing. Because that was the point, I think. And this end screen is strange because it says you unraveled the mystery at the heart of Deathloop. Like, I was waiting for a revelation at the end. And the closest we got was kind of interesting. The game kept hinting from time to time that Colt was fucked up. Like the torture room you get trapped in, and it's like, it's hinting at the idea that you did that stuff like that to other people. But the biggest revelation we get at the end of the game is basically that Colt murdered Juliana, and it might have been that looping just kind of made him care less about anything that was going on here, or people's, like, the value of life and so on, because they would just come back. So he just, like, got more and more detached and killed more and more people each day, and then eventually, like, he maybe started killing Juliana too, like this idea that, like, when someone's immortal enough, they might just stop caring about anything. Although, considering everyone supposedly remembered, it seems like everyone remembered stuff at the beginning, and then it started doing damage and making them forget eventually. 17 years does not seem like enough time to lose your fucking mind and start killing your daughter and so on. Like, these two have problems. And it seems like Colt was the problem first. But it's messed up to kill your daughter over and over again, dude. What the fuck? But like, I wanted more, I guess. It would have been awkward if this turned into like a BioShock Infinite, like 30-minute post-gameplay cutscene. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but that game backloads its story so hard that you stop playing and it just like plots at you for like 20 minutes and does like several revelations and a bunch of sequences all back to back while you're not really playing a game anymore. It's like at most you might walk forward sometimes, and that's like sloppy because you want to deal with the story more throughout. But I was looking for some kind of big catharsis or a comeuppance, or just these characters just really having to deal with each other and hash some shit out. I kind of wanted to see like a really intense conversation, but they once again just kind of like played their greatest hits. Like they mostly said approximately the same tone of stuff that we've been hearing all game, and then you either do the thing you came here to do, or you decide not to, I guess, based on like not really, like, she didn't really say anything convincing. There was no big argument at the end. And so when it says congratulations, you unraveled the mystery at the heart of Deathloop, like, we didn't, like, there was no grand revolution about the loop itself, as far as I can remember, which is what that seems to be hinting, almost like they meant for that to be how this game ends when they wrote this, unless it's just a poor choice of words, this end screen. I don't know. The purpose of the screen is mostly to do the stuff that's in the text at the bottom, which is to explain what you can do now with your product. But the top part, the congratulations, is the part that feels weird, because I'm just like, I mean, I beat the game, I get that, and that you're saying the equivalent of that. But like, this game wasn't a mystery. This wasn't a mystery game. We unraveled the knot of, like, the complicated web of how to get everyone to die. Like, you had to do a series of things, and so we learned that series of things. That was what we unraveled, I guess. But that's not a mystery, and it's not at the heart of Deathloop, unless you just mean the product, I guess. But that's, none of that fits quite. Like we were in the Deathloop, and I was waiting for a big oh shit, which like Prey had, for example, and even elements of Dishonored sometimes had, but Prey especially had like some shit going down about what the story was about and what was actually happening, and a series of revelations there. But this one was just like, we wanted to stop the loop, and mainly we just learned over time that Juliana's our daughter, which happened a long time ago at this point. And then we killed everybody and stopped the loop. And the entire post-credit scene is just her pointing a gun at me, like she said would happen, but then just not shooting us and going away. And that's like the little performance is nice, but the ending is so abrupt that you're like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing here. So I guess the core here, there is the idea that maybe playing Juliana might be the coolest part of this game. I don't think I'm really going to spend time with that, but like, hunting down a human player is potentially interesting, at least in a more engaging way than hunting down the visionaries. My problem is that it's a bit like Dark Souls and so on, where you're just adding invasions into a single player game, and that's kind of a shitty thing to do to people. Like, having true head-to-head matches is interesting, but having a thing, this weird asymmetrical thing where you have like no consequences and no stakes, you're just coming to somebody else's game and they're trying to deal with the problem, and you get to just add a bunch of stress and be like, haha, I'm gonna come kill you in the middle of your stealth mission. Like, it's rough when you're trying to play through a level of Dark Souls and then there's an invader somewhere just fucking your shit up, and like they can use the enemies against you, and they can be waiting at any moment to do something that's a plan that they have. And because they play this game a lot, they probably have like a scheme or a trap or a build to specifically hunt you down. But you're just like some guy, and you're not especially prepared for the invasion or have contingencies necessarily, and like you don't have a build for PvP. You're trying to, all of your items you've picked are for the purposes of getting through your goal and the level. And there's a fundamental difference in how you interact with NPCs and how you deal with that in a single player game versus how you deal with a player. And so, while it's a novel idea to mix these things, like in Dark Souls and so on, I don't think it's a great idea. I think it's kind of just like a dick move that's a bad time for the person that's just trying to play the game, because they're stuck in a situation where they just have so many disadvantages, because not only can they not control the situation very well, and the other person can just choose the worst moment to torment them and be as much of a dick as they want and wait around and so on, but they don't have the build or the setup, and like they have to split their attention between the game itself and the invader, unless they're just gonna stop what they're doing and just wait and just challenge the invader in an open area or whatever, and just really just like screech their progress to a halt. Like, it's rough in Souls games, but it feels worse in here, where like you're in the middle of trying really hard to do this like stealth segment. You're trying to like infiltrate this place, and there's like, it's full of traps or someone. Like, there's some areas in this game that have so many lasers and mines that you just cannot get around reasonably, and it's a real bad time. So the fact that Juliana can just invade when you're in the middle of dealing with that and just start shooting you is just like a very brutal time. I know that you have 3 lives, and that's your big advantage, and like I didn't die that much outside of Juliana invasions overall. Usually like once per run, unless I was just being really sloppy and aggressive because I could. But like, that's just I don't think I love that system, which is a bummer, because that just leaves you with the visionaries, and the visionaries are just not interesting enemies. They all have powers that are for you. like all of their powers are not designed for the visionaries to be cool. They're designed to be fun tools for Colt to have. But that leads to a situation where the primary enemy you might want to have superpowers to fight isn't a cool enemy, so they're not really doing much. And so Colt's array of superpowers is really like just because you feel like it. Because every enemy is just the same enemy mostly. And there's like elite enemies that just have slightly more upgrades but don't seem to tangibly behave or be different. They just hit harder and take more hits a bit, but almost in a way that's almost not noticeable. And then there's the visionaries that are just that, but amplified. But they might do a little thing for a moment. Like, think about how pointless some of these abilities are, as far as I can tell at least. Like, the Carnesis might be the most effective one because it can physically stop you in your tracks and fuck with you a bit, but like I never seem to be able to do much with it. There's one that makes the person stronger, which if you think about it, that's already what a visionary is. They're just a regular enemy but stronger, and that person just does another ability that makes them stronger, and that's their entire character. That one lady just has a bunch of copies of herself. It's because she doesn't have a slab. So like Winji is just a normal facility of enemies, but they all look like her mechanically. Like, there's just not much going on here. The cultist has a power that I think is the one that links people up, and then if she kills, and it lets Colt link up a bunch of people and then kill them simultaneously by making them all take damage as a linked group. But from her perspective, you're the only enemy, so she can't even use it, I don't think, unless maybe if you let her live longer, maybe she links you to her own subordinates and then shoots them to hurt you. Maybe. She might do that. I didn't see her do that, but she did use her ability on me and my screen got weird. And so I was like kind of wondering what might happen, because in that moment I had not remembered what her ability even was. There's that one guy that like teleports around a little bit, which just makes him slightly harder to shoot, but he's functionally, he just acts like all of the other, it's not like fighting Tracer. This isn't Overwatch where everyone's really mobile and dynamic, and it's like you have to learn how every single enemy works and fights them. Which, like, I don't think that's unreasonable to expect that on some level. Like, Colt should kind of feel like his own crazy character that has its own moveset with strengths and weaknesses, and all the enemies probably should feel like the equivalent of, like, an Overwatch hero, where they have, like, abilities and a fighting style that sets them apart, and a visual style that you can spot them with, and so on. Like, what if they were up to some shit? Like, what if the fucking dog guy, like, what if he swiped at the air and, like, these jagged red claw marks, like, rendered around in the fucking area, like he was, like, trying to melee around? Or, like, what if he slashed and, like, the shockwave of the claw marks flew out at you and you had to dodge left or right if it was vertical, or jump above it if it was horizontal? Like, you know, like, kind of like boss fight mechanics of some kind. But instead, he could, like, make you not move sometimes for a minute. Like, but then you just shoot him because he's not stopping you from shooting him. And like, it's like, there just wasn't, I've done things that were so much more interesting than this in shooters, that this feels like a letdown how little's going on in it. So the idea that it's so mechanically robust, you'd play it over and over again and be really into this really in-depth progression system as if you're playing Hades or something, is very difficult for me to stomach. And this is on top of the idea of, like, how this game is not like, and some people are sick of me potentially hearing me about this by now, but like, it's not like Prey Moon Crash, where you had to navigate and solve this big environment, learn about how to play as like 5 different characters and what their little quirk was and what they had access to or what their deal was, and then on your own, more or less, create a winning path of how to win at the end. This game was just chasing waypoints until it wasn't sometimes. I don't know exactly what was going on with the part where it wanted me to infiltrate Alexis, and then I solved it in a completely different place. It seemed to suggest there was more ways to do it. I I think I read a document that hinted at what to do, and then I forgot exactly what that document said, and I just it was probably in the giant ocean of documents that I think you can read somewhere, but like the quest not saying what my goal was rough, and the instant failure on stealth was rough, but blah blah blah. We figured it out eventually. But like aside from that, like it feels like I wonder about Alexis in this game. I have issues with the cartoonishly harsh stealth system that seems to be an overcorrection from people saying that it was too easy at launch, apparently. But, like, Alexis is the most memorable character of the visionaries that aren't these two. And it looked like he had a branching path, multiple solutions castle where you can learn several ways of drawing him out and do it differently every time, like it's Hitman. Because if I were to compare this game to anything, aside from Moon Crash, this game really seems to match up in intent with what I see about Hitman, a game that I played Hitman Absolution, which is the worst one as far as I can tell, but although I got a hint at how it plays, because there are a couple of like normal Hitman levels in that game between the not Hitman levels of that game. But like I've seen a bunch of stuff about the new Hitman trilogy and with all of its updates and whatnot, and like there's a thing where it's a whole point is like there's a whole bunch of different ways to play the mission and deal with the enemy differently and blah blah blah. So like that feels like what this game was going for. And so getting that hint that like, oh, I found one way to lure out Alexis, but maybe there's more, that suddenly made it feel like, oh, there's like interesting stuff going on with this character. And on top of everything else but how memorable he was, it almost feels like that guy got all the attention and then other characters just didn't. But this also still has a core problem, which is that these enemies are so unremarkable that I only learned how to draw out Alexis because the quest was insisting that this was like the goal I had to go on in order to like unlock the final loop, which the fact that it all came together and unlocked the final loop at the end, it makes me think I had to do that. But that was clunky and awkward and super fucking weird because like I already killed Alexis like 3 times. So like the idea that I needed to figure out how to kill Alexis was stupid because I already did. And in the final loop when I killed him again, I once again like didn't do anything special. I just shot him again. I'd shot down at a bunch of wolves and then one guy was dual wielding guns. I'm like, oh, that's Alexis, and then I shot him and then I won. 2 of the 3 enemies. Yeah, no, all 3 of the enemies. There was no special whoa in the big showdown where there's 3 super powered dudes in a castle with a bunch of goons, and the difficult part was the goons. The 3 super powered dudes, I just shot them and then they died, and it just took slightly more effort than the other enemies, but they didn't even, like, aside from the one that I fought close up on that roof, most of them didn't even get a chance to really fight back. I just shot down at them and I pulled that trigger until the top right corner lit up with, "You got him, buddy!" And that was it. And it's like, that sucks. Like, there's no, I don't know, like, if you liked this game, then that's fine, it's cool. But it did not click for me why you would sit here and like replay it over and over again. Like, maybe the higher difficulties are more appealing, but like, given how stealth is running in this version of the game right now, at least, higher difficulties sound like agony because of how overtuned the stealth is. Because ultimately, if stealth isn't working, you're stuck with just shooting people. And the shooting people is kind of just like this like awkward affair of a bunch of NPCs that like, they run up to you and then they stand still and shoot at you and you kind of just try to pop all their heads real quick, but like, eventually you get overwhelmed because there's just so many of them that it could become a huge problem. And so like putting yourself in that situation over and over again just doesn't sound like the most appealing gameplay loop. I don't know. I'm really struggling to come up with anything to praise about this game. Because like, on some level the most appealing thing is the style of like the quips between the 2 main characters and their dynamic. But it just doesn't feel like it went enough of anywhere. And we didn't feel enough about who, we didn't learn about, there's no like flashbacks or additional development or like a lot of idea of who they are and what their deal is and like what their history was together. Partly because, yeah, like Colt, they gave the protagonist amnesia, so we pretty much just have whatever he's told. But that means that things are kind of flat, and so there's just not a ton to go with. I don't know, man. That was Deathloop. now I have opinions about it, I guess. But I definitely had other ideas of how this might turn out. Anyway, see you next time.